We are going to study about the digestive system of earthworm. Here is the alimentary canal of earthworm. The digestive system consists of alimentary canal and associated digestive glands. It consists of these two parts. First, we'll start by explaining the alimentary canal. It is a long, straight tube carrying varying diameter. It runs through the entire length of body, starting from the mouth at the anterior end to the anus at the posterior end. It is held in position by the help of intersegmental septae. It consists of the parts that are 8. The first one is mouth, second one is buccal chamber or buccal cavity, pharynx, oesophagus, gizzard, stomach, intestine and anus. This is the segment in which they lie. It will be easy for you to memorize. You can copy it. Now we will start by explaining through the mouth. Mouth is the crescentic aperture lying ventral to the prostomium at the anterior end of peristomium. It is a fleshy lobe which leads to the second, that is buccal chamber, which is a short, thin walled and protrusible chamber. That is, it means it can extend up to the middle of the third segment. It is externally surrounded by muscle strands. Its inner wall is thrown into folds. A living earthworm's inner wall is thrown into folds, and a living earthworm constantly retracts its buccal chamber. It acts as the organ of ingation. The third one is pharynx. The buccal chamber leads into a stout, swollen, pear-shaped, thick muscular organ which is known as pharynx. It extends from the middle third segment to the fourth segment. It is externally marked off by the buccal chamber by a dorsal transverse groove where the brain lies. So we can say that brain lies in the third segment. Now this is the TF of earthworm through pharynx. Here we can see that the pharyngeal cavity is compressed dorsally because of the presence of thick pharyngeal bulb on its roof. The mass ball contains saliva secreting cells called chromophil cells. The lateral walls of the pharynx are pushed inside to form a narrow horizontal shelf in each side. Two horizontal cells incompletely divide it into the dorsal or the salivary chamber, and the next one is the ventral chamber or the conducting chamber. The saliva secreting cells of pharyngeal mass release saliva into the dorsal chamber, into the ventral chamber where the food gets mixed with the saliva. The saliva contains mucus and the proteolytic enzyme from the wall of the pharynx. Numerous radial dilator muscles run outward to the skin or the body wall. By the contraction of radial dilator muscles, the pharyngeal cavity dilates and the pharynx works as a suction pump or pressure like in feeding. Now we are going to explain about the fourth one, that is oesophagus. The pharynx leads into a short, narrow, elongated, straight tube called oesophagus, or it is also known as gullet. It extends from 5th to 7th segment. Now, fifth one is the gizzard. The oesophagus leads into a hard, prominent, oval, thick-walled, and highly muscular organ called gizzard. It lies in the 8th and 8 by 9th segment. It is internally lined with the tough cuticle. It is internally lined with the tough cuticle secreted by the underlined columnar epithelium. This is the columnar epithelium. The gizzard grinds the food. It grinds the food into a fine state by the help of cuticle muscles and the sac, and this is the lumen. It is a temporary slide of gizzard. Here it consists of circular muscles. Now the next one, the sixth one, we are going to experience the stomach. The gizzard leads into a short, narrow and straight tube. Short, narrow and straight tube like that of oesophagus called stomach. It extends from the 9th segment to the 13th segment. 9th segment to the 13th segment. It has a splinter, that is ring muscles at both the ends. The inner wall of the stomach is thrown into folds which are vascular and glandular. The gland of the stomach secrete a proteolytic enzyme. In some earthworms, there are calciferous glands in the inner wall of the stomach. The calciferous glands secrete or excrete calcium carbonate ions from the body into the lumen of the stomach in the form of calcite, which eliminated through the soil with sand. Now the next one is the intestine. The intestine is, let me explain. The stomach leads into a long, wide and thin walled tube called intestine. It extends from the 14th segment to the last. It has the beaded appearance due to the constriction corresponding to the septa, but bulging in each segment. The inner wall of intestine is thrown into folds which are ciliated, vascular and glandular. The glands of intestine secrete proteolytic, amylolytic, lipolytic enzymes in each segment. Beyond the 26th segment, there is a pair of whitish lobulated lymph glands. Whitish lobulated lymph glands present on either side of the dorsal blood vessels. Here we can find the blood vessels. This is the dorsal blood vessel. The lymph glands manufacture phagocyte and contain refractile granules and chlorogogan cells. I want to tell you about the chlorogogan cells. These are actually the star-shaped yellow color cell which engages the metabolic waste and removes from the coelomic fluid. So it is excretory in function. The intestine is divided into 3 parts. The intestine is divided into 3 parts, that is pre-typhlosolar intestine, typhlosolar intestine, and the third one is the post-typhlosolar intestine. This pre-typhlosolar, the reason is the first part of the intestine. We can see in the figure, it extends from the 14th segment to the 26th segment, below which we can find the lymph glands which are whitish lobulated in a pair, in a structure. Its inner wall is thrown into folds to form minute processes called villi, which are highly vascular. Villi. This increases the absorptive surface. We can know that. In the 26th segment, the intestine gives a pair of forwardly directed lateral and conical blind outgrowth called intestinal shica, which extend up to the 23rd or 22nd segment. The intestinal ceca probably secrete a myelolytic enzyme. Now, the second one, अथवा middle part of the intestine, is typlosolar region. It extends from the 26th segment to the 23rd or 25th segment in front of the anus. It is provided along its whole length into a large median dorsal longitudinal internal fold or villus called typlosole. This region is a typlosolar region, a typlosolar intestine, since it has the typlosole. The typlosole increases the internal absorptive surface. The last one is the post typlosolar region. It lies in the vast 23rd or 25th segment. It has no typlosole. It is also called rectum. The last one is the anus. The post typlosolar region of the intestine communicate to the external through a terminal or